We try to avoid our work as much as possible. And yet, when we went abroad, Irish people worked real hard and generally outperformed. We realised from that that Irish people aren't genetically different from other people. Irish people, but our systems are wrong, the way that we work. Another thing that I'm involved in the Road Safety Authority. One thing we had is we've got double yellow lines on our roads where you may not park. Single yellow line means you may park during some of the time. Double yellow means never park there. Now, outside of our Parliament buildings, my old office, there was always people parking illegally on the double yellow lines, and you'd find it very hard to go up and down the road. So I remember being at a meeting one day and somebody says, look, what we need is another yellow line. So, you know, to be sure you may not park here. We realised this is crazy, and somebody said, well, sure, Irish people, we're not like Germans. In an orderly society like Germany or Holland, people just know that they shouldn't park, so they don't park. Irish people are different. We don't know where you should park or not park. What did we do? Very simple thing. It didn't require huge intelligence. Like the guards used, the police force used to write traffic violations, you know, parking violation slips. That wasn't having any impact. And an odd time they'd lift your car. Your chances were very low. We outsourced to a private operator and we gave them the power to clamp cars. Clamping cars was like a genetic transformation of a society. We all became Dutch and German. We all parked properly because nobody wants to come back and find a car clamped, and the car would be clamped if they weren't there. Enforcement transformed behaviour. I'm on the Road Safety Authority, and interestingly, our target is to go below 300 a year deaths on the road this year. We're much higher, with more people in society, but over 4 million people and more cars. But how are we going to stop drink driving? So Irish people are associated with drink and drunkenness. It's part of our national image, especially when you read the English press. So how are we going to change it? And what we did was very simple. We learned from what people did abroad. What we did was we introduced random testing without probable cause. Our constitution, people wondered, could we do it? But we did it legally. We introduced random testing without probable cause. The guards didn't really, the police force didn't feel they needed it. Sure, you can tell a drunk man by the way they're driving. But the trouble was the citizens were still getting drunk and driving and killing people on an all too regular basis. I don't drink drive, it's just because I'm afraid to drink drive. I'm afraid that I'll kill somebody, not because I'm afraid of being caught. I'm actually physically afraid of killing somebody on the road. But when I'd go to parties, people say, go on, Paul, have 1 and 2. Sure, you're fine after 1 and 2, or 3 or 4. Sure, we know you. Sure, you're one of us. You're a sensible person. You wouldn't kill anybody. You'll drive slower. What has happened overnight is we don't have anybody drink driving. It is virtually eliminated. A thing that was rampant in our society, killing people, has been changed by a simple legislative process that is enforced. So when 4 bad cars and an SUV goes by, if the SUV is the 5th car, it gets stopped. If the person is stone cold sober, they blow into the tube. There is no discretion for the police force. They do every 4th or every 3rd or every 2nd. And it is rigorously enforced throughout society. So nobody, I use nobody says in a sort of a broad fashion, but people don't drink drive anymore. So my learning about my society is that we were so willing to put ourselves down and say we couldn't do this, Irish people are different, Irish people can't work hard, Irish people can't do financial management, Irish people, there's loads of things we couldn't do. And lo and behold, we could do them. And the funniest thing is the people who knew we could do them are actually the citizens. And frequently it's management and the public sector bosses and the politicians who don't give the citizenry the benefits of the doubt. And we all know, because we're all the citizens. And you go to your parties and people say, God, they should do something about X, Y, or Z. Why don't they do something about them? Well, we started doing it. And we did it in a national consensus fashion. All the stakeholders. So whatever your words, if social partnership is a bad word, if people feel there's too many confused symbolisms about it, it's not that isn't the important thing. And it's not trying to be social partnership for social partnership's sake. What we did was try to develop a consensual approach, people working together to solve problems. That's all. Not to make Ireland a perfect place. Not have this great goal. But to identify the problems and solve them by working together. That's all. And that's what we did. I'm not saying, I think that you can do that as well, but I'm not saying that you do it by doing it the way Ireland did it. But it seems to me, when I use your Olympic analogy and other analogies of your music or whatever, that there are problems in this society. There are problems in this society that need to be solved, just as we still have problems that need to be solved in our society. And they can be solved by doing. They won't be solved just by talking about them, just as our problems won't be solved by talking about them. And I assure you, we are far from having fixed or rectified our social problems in Ireland. We have a myriad of things still to be done. And my fear at times is that we'll become complacent. Or my other fear is that we'll say we will have social partnership for social partnership's sake. And we'll have forgotten the reasons that we got into this business. It's problem solving. So that's it's monologue. I apologise for people having to listen to the other side of this. But I'm just trying to capture a number of bases. And I know I've met many people individually, and you're probably bored sick hearing this for the second time. So apologies again. And I think we're doing Q&A. Are we after our two other speakers?
Thank you very much, Paul. As Paul mentioned, we've already met with a number of you already, but it's the first time we're able to get everybody together into a room, so we thought it would be nice just to get the input from some of the key stakeholders we've spoken with, and also if there's any time left at the end of it all, any kind of question and answers from the floor. So there's been a slight change in the schedule. Vincent Morrison, who's the president of the National Workers' Union, will be speaking for Lambert Brown, who called in his apologies. He was called away on urgent business. Vincent?
Morning, everybody. I'm glad the chairman made a point. I'm not Lambert Brown. In fact, not even size-wise. 10 minutes before 10 o'clock, I was asked to fit in for him. And you know, we in the trade union movement, we always welcome the idea of surprises. But I want to firstly mention that the trade unions in Jamaica, the movement, we have never felt that we should not cooperate, participate, and work towards the development of a partnership. And I know that the name sometimes, social partnership, we have had some problems. But we have always felt, in fact, the core of our business, collective bargaining, is based on cooperation, working together. And therefore, we just wouldn't have a reason to say that, you know, partnership, social partnership is not good for Jamaica. Listening to Paul, I got the impression that there's a great deal of similarities with respect to our situation and what happened in Ireland. Very great degree of similarities. But let me just go back to the point, because we have made certain attempts to get a partnership. I recall there was a problem of the private sector not being able to bring to the table the question of inflation, rising prices, and how it would affect that outcome. There's also the last one, and I want to commend Bev Lopez, because I know she did everything possible to get that partnership on the table during her time as head of the PSOJ. My understanding, and this is my own understanding, was that the present government was not interested in having a partnership.